Good evening, brethren. After that slightly technical start, it's my pleasure to do tonight's talk, which, as you can see, is about the role of the Provincial Grand Registrar, which includes the appointments and promotions process, as we'll see. So, what is the role of the Provincial Grand Registrar? I mean, when we first go to the annual general meeting of Provincial Grand Lodge, it's kind of both familiar and different. And when it comes to the appointment of officers, you've obviously got first up is the Provincial Grand Wardens, and that's just like in our own lodges. And then there's the chaplain and the treasurer, and that's all sort of pretty much the same as we have it as in our own lodges. And then just before the secretary is appointed, there's this strange office of the Provincial Grand Registrar. And clearly, it's an office that doesn't exist in our own lodges, but it's obviously a role that does something, because early in the proceedings, you'll hear the Provincial Grand Registrar stand up and say to the Provincial Grand Master that something along the lines of, or the brethren of his province presence along with their respective lodges have been duly recorded. And so I have to say that until I was about to become registrar, I didn't know what the job entailed. So in Warwickshire, and every province is different, the registrar's office deals with registration of the brethren of the province. So this is the processing of Form Ps, both for initiates and joining members, processing change of circumstances forms that come in from the lodge secretary when a brother moves home, changes his telephone number or email, or if they're made an honorary member, if they resign, or if they pass to the Grand Lodge above. But the Provincial Grand Registrar is also responsible for the administration, and I stress the word administration, not the actual doing of, but the administration of the appointments and promotions process, and includes the registration, there's that word again, of provincial ranks. So if that's the summary. So I'm now going to go on to talk about how a bit about the appointments and promotions process. I think it's not really something that's hidden, but I do think there's a certain amount of people are not really aware of how it works. And as someone who sort of watched 1 year of the process, I think it's great that I'm able to sort of share how it works a little bit. So it's up to each UGLE province or district what process they use to evaluate brethren for appointments and promotions. In some provinces, the brethren themselves actually submit an application form. I'm in a lodge in East Lancashire, and there every year they send a form out saying, if you think you're eligible, fill out this form and send it in. In some lodges, in some provinces, it's not the brethren themselves, but it's up to lodges to put brethren forward for appointments or promotions. But here in Warwickshire, what we do is we compile a list of all the brethren who are eligible for consideration at the annual meeting in 2 years' time. It really is quite a long process. So the list of those to be considered for the 2022 annual meeting of Provincial Grand Lodge has been generated, and the brethren on it will be assessed in the Masonic year 2020 to 2021. So the most important thing, when is a brother eligible? So a brother is eligible to be considered for a first appointment 6 years after he first becomes Worshipful Master of a Warwickshire Lodge. So this means that a brother who went into the chair in 2016 will be considered for a first appointment at the 2022 annual provincial meeting. And a brother is eligible to be considered for a promotion in provincial grand rank 7 years after he last received one. So a brother who received a provincial rank at the 2015 Provincial Grand Lodge will be considered for promotion at the 2022 meeting. I know this is kind of a bit complicated, but it works well. And you'll notice that I'm carefully saying eligible to be considered because appointment and promotions are not automatic. So how do people come up with the idea, with a concept of what rank to somebody should have? So the first thing is a yellow form, and this is sent out to each lodge secretary about 6 to 8 weeks before installations, and they get a form for each brother who's being considered for a first appointment or a promotion. Now, this should be completed by a committee of lodge members. It shouldn't be secret. It should be shown to the brother being considered, and he can add his comments if he wants. And then it's usually sent to the presiding officer at the installation via the escorting director of ceremonies. As all present and past DCs know, the presiding officers are there to be looked after, and the DCs chase the lodge secretaries for these forms and then pass them on. Now, you can see the sort of things that are on there. It's got how frequently the brother attends the lodge, how frequently they attend the past master's officers meeting and the lodge of instruction, if there is one. Whether he's acted as a visiting officer, whether he's a member of the Royal Arch, and of course, whether he's a member of the Warwickshire Installed Masters Lodge. And then there's this great big box for lodge comments. So this is the chance for the lodge to sell that brother. So you can put things that he does for the lodge, such as he always beautifully delivers the charge at the northeast corner. He has been the treasurer for the last 15 years and the books always balance. Something to do with his work with the lodge. You can also put something that he does for the province, such as Brother X is a member of the provincial choir, or he always encourages members to attend the interesting meetings at Installed Masters Lodge. And also you could put in, if it's relevant, something that he does for the community. So for example, he runs a charity for that provides food for homeless people. So something like that, something that gives the presiding officer and the other members of the Appointments and Promotions Committee an idea of that brother. But also you could use it if that brother has had difficulties attending lodge, to explain. So of course you could say something like, Brother X is now a full-time carer for his wife and therefore finds it difficult to attend the lodge meeting. All of this is about giving the presiding officer an idea of the brother if he doesn't know him personally. So the presiding officer at the installation meeting, so Provincial Grand Master, Deputy Provincial Grand Master, one of the Assistant Provincial Grand Master or Wardens, is the person who will make a first recommendation of a suitable rank for the first appointment or promotion. And it's based on the information on the yellow form, his observations of the brother at the installation meeting. So this could be what work he does at the in the actual meeting, and maybe the brother being considered will do something like one of the addresses to the wardens or the brethren. or perhaps he will deliver the toast 4 or 5 at the festive board. Now, this is if the brother has some problems and is unable to attend, has been unable to attend, then the decision may be made to defer his appointment or promotion and to reevaluate the situation in a couple of years. Again, if someone has been unable to attend for 2, 3, 4 years, it's very difficult to sort of offer them an appointment or promotion. It needs to be thought about. So, what ranks can actually be proposed? So for a first appointment, the highest rank that can be proposed is Provincial Senior Grand Deacon or Past Provincial Senior Grand Deacon. So there's no difference in terms of the acting or past ranks. They're both Senior Grand Deacon. And for those brethren who have already got a provincial rank, their promotion is usually based on 1 or 2 what are called clicks. That is rungs up the ladder of levels of rank, right up to past Junior Grand Warden. And here I must stress that the rank of the past Senior Grand Warden is given by the Provincial Grand Master only to brethren who have made significant contribution to the province. So okay, so we've had all the installation meetings, and there's all these various ranks that have been proposed, and we need to get them so that they're all given out fairly and as fairly as possible and as reasonably as possible. So there are two meetings that the Provincial Grand Master chairs of the presiding officers, so that's the deputy, the assistants, the past wardens. The Provincial Grand Secretary is also there, and I'm there to record everything and try and so the Secretary and myself are there to try and make sure everything happens according to the rules, which it mostly does. And what there is a first pass in October, where each brother and the rank proposed is discussed. And here, could I just say that last October was my first time at one of these meetings, and I was absolutely amazed at how few brethren the provincial rulers did not know. They knew just about everyone on the list, and we went through 200 names, and there would be, oh yes, this brother should be, oh yes, I know him, yeah, he. So I was really impressed. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised, but it really was very, very impressive. And I can also say that all of the discussions were very fair and reasoned. A lot of the proposed ranks are accepted. Yes, there were a couple that generated some debate and were reduced, but there were more that were actually increased from the original propositions. And there were also a couple that were discussed and were decided to be deferred for a year, based on the knowledge of the brethren by the members of the committee. So there is then a second meeting in November. So all of these ranks are sent out to everyone. They have a look at them. We sort of make sure that there's a good spread of them. And then in November, they're pretty much confirmed. And then letters of appointment and promotion are sent out early in December. It's always the aim. For a number of years, it's been the aim in Warwickshire that brethren always know their ranks before Christmas. So this is sort of a nice Christmas present. And of course, the final decision on all provincial ranks rests with the Provincial Grand Master. So here we are. We have the timeline here on one slide. The files produced, the brethren are looked at the installation meetings in 20 and 21. In October and November are the meetings. December, the offers go out, offering appointments and promotions. And yes, we do have some brethren who choose not to take them up. Last year, I don't think there were any, but there have been in previous years. In April, I do my bit. I basically sort of take all of the check that all of the brethren are still okay to receive their new ranks and update Adelphi accordingly. And then, of course, we have the annual meeting of Provincial Grand Lodge where people are invested with their ranks, and actually on the same day, Adelphi sort of rolls over so that all of UGLE can see the new ranks for the people. Whew, right, so that was a quick whiz through the way the appointments and promotions process works. Now, I'm happy to take questions, but only about the process itself. As we've used before, there's a way of raising your hand here on Zoom. So I'll take questions about the process, but clearly I can't take any questions about individual cases. If you ask me why Brother X got a higher or lower rank than he should have done, then of course I can't answer that. But if you've got any questions about the process or anything else that the Provincial Grand Registrar is responsible for, then now's your chance.
Simon, Abel.
Yes, hello, thank you. Hi Stephen, great presentation. Hi. As I said in the message, really relevant, it is great, thank you very much. I think it's worthwhile stating for your benefit that lodge secretaries should be sending back the form in the original format that it's sent out at, as in Excel. You can't accept anything other than that. And a question, and I don't know if I'm right, is it right that if a brother or a secretary sends in a Word document as a CV for a brother who's up for first appointment or promotion, that would be not used? Is it a useful thing to do or not?
Okay, so it's not something that, as the registrar, I would use, but perhaps this is a question for one of the presiding officers. Again, it adds to the information that they have about the brother. I guess most of those people who are up for promotion are already well known in the province. It's the new brethren or the people who are up for first appointment. And yes, I'm sure it would help to give the presiding officer a better feel for what else the brother does.
Stephen, you've got we've got a Michael Morris.
And can I also say, from my experience as a past deputy provincial grand master and assistant provincial grand master, that any bit of information is looked at by the presiding officer and looked at very, very carefully. So all the information that we can be given, as far as I'm concerned, may have changed in the last couple of years, but I don't think it will have done. All the bits of information that were given about a brother are taken into account.
Sir, please.
Brethren, we've just had a superb presentation by our Provincial Grand Registrar, and I do thank him for that. And I hope he showed you that the massive transformation that we've had in Warwickshire over recent years is twofold. Firstly, it's all electronic now, so it's an awful lot more efficient, but it is very, very objective. Whenever any brother is going to be considered for promotion or for a first appointment, we have a vast, as the past Deputy Provincial Grand Master has said, We have a vast array of knowledge available to us. And it's our job as your rulers to make sure we know as many people as possible. So that's what we try and do. And so that it's not a subjective exercise. And I think Stephen's guided us through the process very, very well. But really what I wanted to tell you all, brethren, is that in Warwickshire, the Provincial Grand Registrar is a singularly different office to that held in most other provinces. The Grand Registrar is the legal eagle of UGLE. It is the Grand Registrar who has dictated that we cannot reconvene Freemasonry with a festive board. In his view, that is illegal. And his ruling affects everything that we do. And some provinces, the Provincial Grand Registrar is their legal eagle. And so he handles all legalities that the province has to do. He handles disciplinary matters that I've got to get involved in. He is the legal side of the province. The legal side of my province is 2 squares along me on the top row, the past Deputy Provincial Grand Master. He's not called the Provincial Grand Registrar because Warwickshire's never had it that way. The Registrar in Warwickshire registers members, as our Provincial Grand Registrar has said. So don't please assume 2 things, that every province is set up in the same way. And I can promise you that the objectiveness of the process we've got in Warwickshire, I'm very, very proud of, and you should be, because we are doing our very level best for you. We can't give, the reason that if anyone wanted to ask the question, why 6 years, why 7 years, who's thought this one out? The Book of Constitutions tells us how many people we can appoint and how many people we can promote. And given our membership, we have designed the formula, we, Warwickshire, my predecessors, have designed the formula. We have just put a more objective face on this so that you can feel like you're being well done by. But we do know an awful lot, and we make sure we go out of our way to make sure that the brethren that we are going to go along when we preside, crikey, I've been to your lodges enough anyway, and I make sure, and so do all the rulers know. But there's 2 sides to this presentation, brilliantly done by Stephen tonight about Warwickshire, but the rest of the United Grand Lodge of England may have a different Provincial Grand Registrar, and I think it's helpful that you know that. Of course, Warwickshire's system is vastly superior, but you would expect that, brethren.
Yes, I have to say that just before I was appointed, a friend from a different province said to me, I didn't know you were a policeman. I'm not. And that's why, yeah.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? I'm not seeing any other.
Can I just make a statement? As Michael has pointed out, the In Touch newsletter this week had a mistake in it, for which I can only apologise. Can I thank Will Watson, who stepped into the breach and put out the link on WhatsApp, which is why I think we've got 41 participants here. Congratulations to you all for having got here. I do apologise again. It's a salutary lesson. I shall ensure that all future In Touch newsletters are up to date and workable. We usually do test them, but of course the problem is you can't actually test the video link, because if you do, you set the whole thing off. So I will be sending out an apology tomorrow. I will also be sending the link to the recording of this presentation, which Stephen has been absolutely brilliant. And I'm just sorry that more people haven't actually listened to it live, and I'm sure that you would have had far more questions. So hands up, I apologise, and I shall make sure it doesn't happen again.
Thank you. Any more from anyone else?
Just to endorse the fact which our past Deputy Provincial Grand Master said about the information received This last Masonic year was my first year as a presiding officer. Yes, we do know most of the people who are being considered for appointments and promotions, but it does help an awful lot when a brother sends a personal CV just to guide us a bit more and give us more information. So that was very helpful. Thank you. And I hope it does continue in future as well.
Well done, After.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Stephen.
Pleasure.
Indeed. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you,
Yes.
Brethren.
Thank you.
Take care.
Good night, brethren.